What's up, everybody? Welcome. We are here with two of the beautiful members of Nonstop to Cairo. I'm going to let you both introduce yourself because I realized today we haven't interviewed you guys in over 2 years.
Wow.
Right? So I was thinking about it. The last time was when you guys came on live with us during the COVID times. We were all stuck at home. That was about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Crazy, right?
There's been many updates.
Yeah. So I'm going to let you guys start by explaining who you guys are and who you are within Nonstop to Cairo.
Well, we'll start with the Brady Bunch box up top over here.
We're not in Nonstop to Cairo. You were like pointing at us. I'm like,
Oh,
it's like, oh, well, where are the other drummers?
There you go.
right.
What's up, everybody? I am Nick Diamond. I'm a singer and guitar player from Nonstop to Cairo. I am a founding member of the band. I've been around for quite some time with this group, and looking forward to dropping this new album soon.
Oh, yeah. Founding member. How long has it been actually now?
For Nonstop to Cairo?
Yeah.
Officially, the band was named in 2007, but current band form 2009, more when August joined the group.
Perfect segue. Lead Indian. There you go.
This lovely man over here.
Talking about you, man.
With that being said, what's up, everybody? My name is August. I go by Ash. I'm part of Nonstop to Cairo as well. You can say founding, sort of, kind of. Started out 2009 and have been rocking with these boys ever since.
So when we last interviewed you guys, you were in a completely different band space, in terms of the type of music you were creating, things like that. So what can you tell us, where is Nonstop to Cairo now since we saw you guys 2-3 years ago at this point?
I will say we started this project about 3 years ago during the very beginning of right before COVID happened. Actually, it was when we officially had started, which at the time wasn't the project that it is today, but it was our next goal was to record, and we had started the song Tia with, Kevin and a completely different group, basically, at that point. So a lot of the songs, the ideas had been there, but, we kind of hashed them out within the time frame that we started the recording, another year later or so with the current group.
Robert, you want to add on to that? Or?
Yeah, those last 2-3 years, I think I can say this for everyone. It was a huge change in schedule and in life for everybody. And just as we transitioned into the band we are today, it just went through a lot. Because there's a bunch of songs out there that Nonstop has. We tend to play at shows sometimes or jam on. They just never get recorded. And this time around, we had a bunch of tunes, but as the years went by during this COVID era, it transitioned to something else. We changed up some things, and I think for the better. Absolutely, especially with what we had to work with. But at the end of the day, this current project upcoming, I really think it entails and manifests everything that we were looking for in the time we took to put it out.
Yeah, we got back to a little bit more of our rock and roll roots, which is how the band started. We came from more of just a metal band to just a rock band. And then we evolved over time due to certain circumstances and whatever, and adding members to this different thing that was less rock and more horn oriented and ska, reggae. Even though me and Ash never really consider ourselves a ska band, and we always think ska bands look at us and these guys are not ska.
but it was cool. It was very cool, and I to this day I wouldn't take the experience away from how Nonstop has come about, because playing with groups like the Scofflaws and English Beat, it really opened up our minds as musicians who, we come from a vast array of music in Nonstop in general. So to come together, fuse what we already were trying to put together, and then I don't know, just having these influences. I even had spoken about it the other day. JP, who was the engineer for this particular song, Tia, that we started the album out on. He was in a band called Oogie Wawa, and I could have sworn, I think that was probably like our first trip out on the road. These boys were up and coming. They were hot. They had done a couple of tours regionally, and I think once nationally, and they were just like, yeah, why don't you guys come down to Florida, come and hang? And we were just getting into the life, and like that was quite an experience within itself. But being around those groups and that reggae group, there was an influence on Nonstop to Cairo as time went on, because you're playing with certain groups constantly. There's certain beats and vibes that you like. So then you go to band practice, you're like, oh, that strum right there, Nick, that sounds kind of reggae. You don't do that. and somehow we'd incorporate that in a song or two. And I mean, like back in the day, Set the Tone, that's like a prime example of something that was a little bit of the influence of that reggae, but we still non-stopified it, if you want to me say so myself. Yeah.
So you aren't really a ska band, you're not really like a metal band, you're not really like a hip hop band. How do fans I feel like you guys have a very diverse fan base. How do you kind of see all these like different niches like coming together?
No, I think we've just experienced playing with so many different types of music, where we would come into it sometimes being a little like, oh, I don't know if we're gonna fit in here. We're too heavy, or we're not heavy enough, to play with certain groups. But then we just get up there and do our thing, and people that like music generally tend to, be accepting of any good music. And I think we've just got over by winning crowds, winning different people over, and just being our genuine selves, on stage, off stage, and people resonate with that. It seems like for sure, and we don't stifle ourselves in a songwriting capacity, whereas we say, "Wow, we can't do that because it's not Nonstop." Nonstop has to follow any type of certain sound. We just whatever the best songs are, let them be, and that's our sound.
Cool.
I know for a lot of artists, there's something you've got to target and push, because it is your genre or the agenda that you have to go by to get your marketing out there, and plans, rules to that. And the one thing I've kind of learned over the years is you got to take your rules out of the creativity. You gotta like let that go. A lot of people do have guidelines, and hey, it may work for a lot of people, just that organization ideal. But when you kind of take that harness off, and you take the choke collar off of your creativity and just like let it go and give yourself some time, you'd be really, really surprised of what you could come up with. So, with that being said, kudos to Nick, because that room right there, is full of magic. He's come back from that room that you're staring at right now and walked into the studio. And we've all turned our heads like, holy shit, you just made that riff? Oh, okay. And, build off something like that. And that's kind of been our creative process for the last... How many years? 2009, you said? Yeah.
I was gonna say, has your writing process for both of you changed at all within, I guess, I don't want to say the past decade, it feels like. Has it changed? Like, what specifically? Is it like, because I know there's been like different circumstances, like events, lineup changes, but like, has Anything been the same? Anything has been different in terms of like making the Nonstop to Cairo?
I would say in our growth that in the beginning, it would definitely be Nick or even Ezzo coming up with a lot of the song, not only like composing, but kind of getting lyrics down, ideas like that. And then, especially my start in the band was Wet Behind the Ears. Like, you're chiming in. Okay, this sounds good. Oh, maybe I could like put a little hook here, a little verse here. And as we, grew in this band and, started doing shows, countless shows, just coming up with countless songs and recording, Nick said, all right, I like your idea. Why don't you just chime in a little more? So it's been a great building of a relationship, I feel, just with the guys. But normally Nick gets on that guitar and he's like, yo, I just heard of something in my head, like a little riff, and we'll be like, hold that. And the process starts. It's very live, it's very organic, and I've always appreciated that for how we put our music together.
And I will say, I'll add on to that just recently the four of us, we're at a point now where we've just been doing it for a pretty good amount of time. And four of us, I mean me, Ash, Alex Turner on drums, and Ed Nevin on the bass guitar, where we know exactly what we kind of want to do with the song pretty quickly, and we get to it. There's not a lot of wasted time anymore, because we used to practice 3 times a week for years, 2 for a long, long time, and 2 was like, 2 is good. But now things happen, and you can only get 1 practice in a week. But it's like, okay, we still got to get a lot of work done in 1 practice. So we got to be focused, and we got to move quick and make things happen. And I think it's been it's been good for us to put a little more pressure to get things done, because it's in the end, I think it's going to get us to put more music out at a faster rate. And we've just marinated a nice stew together that we got a good groove going pretty quickly. We know which songs, like that one can go to the side for a little while. Which one's like, bing, pick that right out of the
beef stock will do like chicken stock in the stew. It's like, you gotta figure out which one works best for this one.
Absolutely.
So let's get into the new album. I guess before you've already dropped 2 singles on Spotify for the album, but I guess before we even get into that, let's get into the album, the inspiration behind it, the title, all that. I'd like you guys to tell everybody a little bit about that.
Kai is named after our trumpet player, Kevin Etwaro, and Kevin Anand Etwaro was his full name. And it was a tough go in the year 2020 for us, for a lot of people. And Kevin lost his battle with depression, with demons, or whatever that was built up inside.
I want to say, with Kevin leaving this world and the world the way it was, there's a lot of confusion. You don't understand a lot of things. You go through a lot of emotions. And just that process from him being here to not, it was a lot on his family, loved ones, on just people that knew him. And we weren't sure about anything anymore. There's a lot of obstacles that have transpired. And I mean, anybody goes through that. That's life, ups and downs. But in band world, it's interesting. And there's things that you have to fight for to even stick around. We all know Long Island is a hustle. Long Island's a part of New York, and you've got to hustle to exist and be out here. And as hard as we were trying in all of this, there was always something that would go on. And I looked at Nick one day after Kevin's funeral, a few weeks after we'd done this photo shoot. And I, not the photographer was fine, like everything was cool, but it was a week after his funeral. I'll never forget it because like we got the pictures back, right? And it's like hard as you're trying to, we're a band, we're in the foot, like we just look miserable. We all look miserable. And I looked at Nick later on that week, and I was just like, let's be real. Like, you want to do this anymore? Like you question everything. You question everything. And we had to take a second to like really think about it. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of studio practices that we have recorded. And I'd be going home every night because it's the last recordings I have personally of Kevin. I think we all have personally of Kevin. You're just like listening through tunes, man. Just like listening through these songs, man. The Dropbox is probably the most magical thing in the world to me right now. And just going through the jams, it just occurred to me, it sparked. It was just, there's no way we're stopping. When I saw Nick maybe probably a few days after or a week after that night I had, and before we even said anything, he like looked at me like, "The fuck you mean we're stopping? We're not going anywhere. We've never stopped." And he's right. Yeah. He's right. And Kevin wouldn't have wanted us to stop.
Right. Yeah.
Far from it.
And not only that, but Kevin, he led us to Ed as the bass player. He kind of made those introductions and made that all happen. And in his passing, he, unknowing to him, he helped us reconnect with Alex Turner as our drummer, and we reconnected and started making music again. And even though we had started the project with different drummers and kind of uncertainty when we started the project, we were able to finish it strong, with four of us.
Very strong.
I feel like there's like a new like fire with you guys now. It's just like I see like dates coming up all the time. There's just like, not that there's been like a change in like energy, but I feel like there's like, you haven't stopped, which is great. And I think which is also what Kevin would have wanted, is to like you guys to like keep going and keep putting 100% into your recordings, but also your performances. So
I think you hit that on the head, V. Absolutely. And just, with this project, the reason why we took our time is we can hear the quality, and I think it's going to translate very well to people who, are watching this and just getting an idea about what's going to go down for April 29th with the album release party at Dublin Deck. Shameless advertisement.
We're
gonna get to it.
I love the segues. We'll just segue.
You just got to every so often, but it's the idea of Nonstop, loving to play, loving the music that we make, seeing the response of people enjoying our music, and I think really with Kai, just the message that we're sending out with this one for the most part, and it's something everybody can relate to because it's life, ups and downs. No matter what your situation is or what perspective you have on it, you're going to have your up and downs. And there's going to be things that are really going to put you in a place like, hey, what is going on? Do I deserve to be here? Or why am I even here? And I think it's just a breath of fresh air, for you to take that space and kind of get an idea. I can wake up tomorrow and be grateful that you woke up to tomorrow.
Right. So let's keep going with the album. So you released 2 singles so far for this album. $1 Million Space and Awkward Situations. What was the reason behind those 2 being the first 2 singles?
$1 Million Space, I think we just all felt at the time was just like, it was the perfect song for like beginning of summer feel. The video that we had shot was, just had the right like sunshine kind of.
The video was amazing, by the way.
And the tune was just very
upbeat,
up tempo. It felt like the perfect time for that particular song to be the lead single off the album and kind of really show like, okay, you know, we got some new funky stuff here. It's a little different, you know. The horns are still present in that one, but they're not the main necessarily the main focus of the song. It's just got a nice riff and a nice groove.
I think it's a good way, at least for me, and knowing all your music through the years, I think it's a good way to connect with fans, say from the Dabble Heavy era, while showing the new wave of Nonstop Cairo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's exactly where we were going with it. It kind of gave a touch on that classic Nonstop as we were gearing towards what this transition in Kai is all about.
Yeah, and the music video is great. I touched on that before, but just like,
thank you. No, appreciate that.
Like the concept was awesome. Who was the videographer, or who actually came up with the concept for all that?
So
James.
Yeah, we were working with 19th and 7th is the company, and James Morano is the videographer who he came up with the concept for the video. And originally there was supposed to be another actor as the lead, Mr. Joe Rubino.
I love
yes. Shout out to Joe Rubino.
Oh,
who's basking in Cali's sun somewhere.
Yes, out in Cali. He was supposed to, but the original date got canceled, and we had to move to a different date, and he couldn't do it. And we were looking for another actor, and then, you know, James, and we all kind of were like, why don't we just have August play the role? He knows all the lyrics.
I mean, listen.
Can you imagine me giving Joe Rubino like writing out the lyrics to this man as he's like trying to learn this, and then it being canceled? So, like, and you know, with this situation, it's pretty funny. But like I said, Nonstop, Kai, this is what we're talking about, like life.
Yeah.
Like we had a plan, it did not work. Okay, what's next? Improvise, you know, it's an obstacle. But
and he did a great job. He should win an award.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I believe.
Yeah, no, I had a great time doing it once I realized, yeah, this is happening. But you know, that was furthest from my head. Yeah, we were looking for somebody else to do it for the longest. Definitely look, but
like, how was it? Like, I know you know the lyrics, but like, how was it like acting it out or like lip syncing it? For if I don't know if that actually happened, but like, are you performing it a different way compared to how you perform it live in a music video?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I feel like it was like being on stage a little bit, but maybe controlled. Like you can be crazy for a second, but then it's like, and cut. You know, you kind of have
like, your elbows out of the shot.
Right. You know, you do a shot 2 or 3, 4 times just at different views and stuff, and it ended up coming out really, really cool. And I have grown a little more accustomed to, you know, kind of having the camera in my face like that. So.
Oh wait, it worked out all for the better.
Yeah,
Now you have a highlight reel, and you can like send it to Joe Rubino and be like,
look what you missed out. Bro.
Well, yeah, you just had to move to California. That's fun.
So without giving like more away, what can you guys tell us about the rest of the album that you're willing to tell us? I mean, I know fans have heard some of these songs live and things like that, but what are some things you could tell people that what they should expect for?
Well, the next single that's coming out is going to be released a day before the show. So Friday, April 28th, we're going to drop the third single, Not Today, along with a video, which was filmed by Box Media. And
shout out to Box.
And that is, you know, it's a completely different feel than the first 2 singles, you know, and I think it really showcases every area that we're trying to touch on with the album between the 3. And to me, it's probably the most meaningful song as far as getting the message, it's okay to not be okay sometimes. And, you can smile and be sad and ask for help and not be afraid to do that. And I think, as a song itself, it was a really cool experience because it was melded from two completely different ideas. It's a riff that I had with a horn idea and the hook on the chorus that Alex had from a completely different idea. And we put them together, and I think it's the only song we really successfully, me and August maybe have tried it a few times, but successfully melded two songs together. And we knew right away, like, this one's got some emotion and some feeling and the message, before we even knew that the message was going to have such an impact on us.
Yeah, it was just in the sound. I just remember being in the studio and we were, just messing with it for a few days. And I think like at the end of that week, Kevin finally found something he really liked in the riff. Remember, because Kevin was playing horns as well as the synth at the same time. So he just kind of had the horn in his hand while he was going. And he started playing this riff, and we were like, this is something. I don't know what it is because I haven't written the lyrics to it yet, but this is definitely something. So I'm glad those two songs, like Nick was saying, was, put together and we were able to put this out. And I think people are really going to enjoy this on different levels.
So I know that one is probably most meaning for you. Is there a song that you guys enjoy playing the most on this new album, like whether performing or just, is there like a riff you like the most or something like that?
Pope Funk. I think Pope Funk, to me, is so much fun. It's so funky. To me, it's like the new transitioning Nonstop sound back to more rock funk style. And I think it's different than a lot of things that are out there. We do some odd time signature stuff, which is fun when when we nail it, which we do frequently.
If you haven't noticed, I rap on some wild shit sometimes. These guys have me all
I put them through the ringer
with the beats, man.
Yeah, first you're an actor, now you're trying to figure out how to rap for different time signatures. You're
honestly,
doing a lot of work. Your back hurts from carrying.
My back, hell. I think at the end of the day, though, my journey with these guys and kind of like doing the music like this has relatively made me a better MC than most. There's normal beats that people go through, and I have not been doing normal beats for several years now, and it's a challenge. It's exciting. It's invigorating for me, because for some time I fell out of love with hip hop in general, and the one thing I found in that time I was just like not doing it was going to the studio with these guys when we first started out. I was like, this is fresh, this is different, and that really rejuvenated my ideas on rap and what I was capable of doing.
That and I would also say $1 Million Space is a lot of fun to play live. I can't. It's just a fun guitar riff for me personally. I don't have to do a lot of singing in that song, so I get to just kind of switch between pedals and do my fiddling, as Ash likes to say.
Keep on fiddling.
I think most people are going to agree with you, though, with Pope Funk being a fun live song. Because I'm thinking back to your Statfest set last summer. That was your final song of the set, if I remember correctly, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Everyone went wild. Like, you guys had one of, if not the best crowd of that day, and they just went. People were going nuts for it. So
I remember.
I can see that being.
It was insane.
Wait, Dan, I'm sorry. I think the communication was going. What did you say again? Largest, best, loud sounding, great sound. What? Sorry,
Might have been the best. Yo, but to tell you though, the crowd the energy was there. The energy was there that, like, you just felt it. You felt people, like, and that was a song that I know you Pop Punk, you hadn't played too many times, if even had played it live yet at that point. You felt it. It was like people had known the song for months, and everyone was just vibing to it. And you could see that people were enjoying the music. They were genuinely listening to what you guys were playing, and not just like kind of vibing along. Like, you could see that they felt it. They understood what the band was trying to put across, and but they received it well. Mm-hmm. Honestly, such an awesome set.
That was a really fun show.
No, we had a great time. I will say this now. Pope Funk will be a little more interesting from when you heard it live then to how it was recorded. I will say that.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't think we're allowed to ask follow-up questions, right?
We're just gonna, we can let that go.
Okay.
Don't you dare!
How dare you? So redact that shit.
So that's another good segue, because I was going to go into, so you played Statfest, you're now going to be playing HEMPFEST, the album release show. Yeah. What can people expect different of a live Nonstop show now? Like, you're saying that this song's going to be a little different, so what can people expect differently in the way this show is? Or is there much of a difference?
We're going to be even tighter and nastier. No, I would say we are, people have known us as a band with horns forever, and we are making a little bit of a transition to holding our own without horns. Or a lot of the newer material we've been writing has been geared towards being a 4-piece. So some of the set is going to have us up there as a 4-piece, and then we're going to come back and finish, with some surprises.
Very cool. With the new sound and the new direction you guys are kind of going into, can we expect new covers? I know you guys we've seen a lot of Sublime covers from you in the past. Can we expect any new music coming up? No.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's tasty.
I guess I should say anything that would surprise people.
Probably.
I think so. We've always dabbled in the obscure covers. There's a lot of really great bands out there that have had some really cool hits, but it's always like those hits that you forget was a hit. Yeah. It's not like their main commercial. Oh, I know exactly. But then you're listening and you're like, oh, they made this one too. So Nick and I have definitely been back and forth with a couple of tunes that, we grew up with, we thought were cool, and we have our own rendition of it.
Cool.
Yeah. If I do say so myself, I can't speak for the both of us.
On the performance, what goes, if you want to tell us this, what goes into a preparation for a Nonstop to Cairo show? Is there any rituals that you guys have, or are you just kind of like...
Nothing specific. I think we just all kind of build up a certain energy leading up to a show, and then right before it, I think we start to share that energy naturally on stage with just a look, a glance, a smile, turning up the amp to 11.
It's like, all right, let's go.
And once we get going, it's just like, yeah, it's on. Let's do this. We want to bring it. Other than that, I think there's just a lot of pent-up energy waiting to get on stage.
Do you have any advice for, say, another band in your situation is headlining, doesn't have to be a festival, but like they're doing an album release show. Do you have any advice for an album release show for either upcoming bands or just like local bands or anything? What advice would you give them?
Get off the island.
Okay,
there's so much more. There's absolutely so much more. Don't restrict yourself. Just like I was talking about with the creativity, you can't. New York has everything. Don't get it twisted. New York has everything, but in the idea of where you want to go with your music as a younger group, if you're really trying to get the word out there, leave the state. Hell, you don't even have to leave the state. Go upstate.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people in a lot of places that really appreciate live music. It's just you've got to do the hustling of making those phone calls to those venues and going out to find the right ones that'll treat you right. I guess you could say, because that's a whole game itself. But you know, maybe that's a time for a different discussion when we have a little more time.
What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I would say put out music. Don't sit on things for too long and try to necessarily make things so perfect. There's a level to that, and it's good to have that, you know, dedication and like, it's got to be exactly a certain way. But I find that letting go of some of those restrictions, of, you know, is healthy, and it's just good to get music out there rather than it being a certain way. And yeah, I would definitely agree with what August said about getting out there. Very, very important to see if you want to be on the road. doing the thing, you know,
or if you're even able to be on the road like that.
It's not for everybody. Some people don't want to travel and be on the road, and you know, that's a different game, you know, and you don't have to in these day and age. You can certainly approach things from a different way, because being out on the road is, I mean, it's a young man's game for sure.
Yeah.
Young person's game.
Oh, there you go. Back to HEMPFEST. Let's go back to HEMPFEST a little bit. So, how did you guys get connected with HEMPFEST? How did this whole album release show come to be?
I think Ryan contacted us. Ryan from Movers contacted us about the show, and originally we were just like, yeah, you know, absolutely. And then we had been trying to plan the album release for a little while.
Yeah.
And it just made a lot of sense to you know, a lot of the homies, the bands are playing. Bunktown, I Respect, Big Happy. So he was like, yeah, this is the perfect show to do it. The Dublin Deck is awesome venue. We've done some cool shows with Oogie there in the past. So it kind of just all fell together at the you know, to be the right time and the right place. And we were really excited to do it.
Yeah, it's the beginning of summer, and you know, we figured it'd be a special event, so you know, we kind of wanted to entice it a little more. Like for instance, Kai is actually not out April 29th of the show. We actually have physical CDs, which will be out that.
Nick, finish it. Which will be out when?
We actually are going to have the physical CDs, which are going to be out on the 29th, and then Kai will drop officially May 5th. Is that correct?
That is correct. Friday, May 5th. It'll come out on streaming. So yeah. So if you're at the show and you have a CD player still
in your whip
available to you,
pop that CD though.
That's cool. I like that strategy. Like, because usually people are like, "Oh, hey, like here's the album art, pre-save it." But I like that people are gonna hear the album first before they can actually have it. Like, I mean, they can. There's like the CD version, but like the Spotify, etc. version won't be out for like another week. I like.
Right.
Exactly, V. You can have it, but you can't have it.
It's a
and CD version.
Yeah.
Is the way that it is meant to be listened to.
I can't wait. I'm gonna buy a CD and then go into my car and be like, "Fuck!" I can't wait. I'm so excited.
But yeah.
Are there any other exclusive things that we can expect at HEMPFEST, or is it more like buy a ticket to find out kind of thing? Yes. Okay.
Oh, all right. All right. So, Nick, can I tell?
Yeah.
So
Long time coming.
Very long time coming, and you know, we were just putting this set together to kind of perfect it, or just give you guys the best Nonstop sound currently. And with that, we've been in the studio already again, and
Oh, that news.
Yeah, that news.
Next, like, this is the first time I've heard this.
So like I'd say like there's one in the chamber. There's some other heat that we have that is not on Kai at all, but we will be debuting some newer tunes.
It might have a connection to Kai though.
Yes, exactly. And we'll be dropping that most definitely at the show on the 29th at Dublin Deck and Patchogue. Shameless advertisement.
Fantastic. All right.
Are you gonna press the album for vinyl at all? Do you have any plans of doing that?
Not currently, but we'll see if we get enough people asking for it. You know, I know we did that with
Yeah, two right here.
We appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely.
I have the Dabble Heavy vinyl. I need the new one then.
Well, how long did it take you to get the Dabble Heavy one?
Like 6 months ago, so not too great.
We got some time.
Yeah.
For those who are listening and watching,
10 more years. And then
for those who are listening and watching, you're not out of luck. You still have Dabble Heavy vinyls. They will be available at the show. You just gotta, hit us up.
That's right.
there you go. All right, I'm gonna text you right now. I don't have your number. Or in vanilla. Great. Cool. All right. Awesome. Actually, what do you in tying to the show? What are you most excited about it? Apart from the album release, like what's like the one thing that's like, I can't wait for X to happen.
For about the show, you saying?
The show or the album release, whatever.
Well, for me, I think it's gonna be cool, and this is another fun fact that we're gonna have some new merchandise at this show.
Hell yeah! All right.
Yes.
And we've been a little slacking in our merch department for a little while. After a strong run in the earlier days, but we got back working with some really great artists and
Yes.
cool stuff planned, to have for this show.
What about you, August? Anything excited that we might not know about? Or?
All right. So, in all honesty, just with everything going on and us getting everything together for this album, we haven't played a live show in probably 7 months. This is probably the longest we've gone. I'm itching, but above all else, I really feel that for this particular show, I'm so excited to celebrate Kevin's life. It's been sitting with me for a long time, and just like getting an idea. This isn't another show. This is a celebration, and it's just a representation in the best way possible of what's to come for Nonstop to Cairo, what was Nonstop to Cairo, what's going on right now, and I think it'll be a chapter closed in my mind with all of this, because it's been quite a journey, and with the stuff that we've been cooking up in the studio of late, just practicing, the four of us, I couldn't be happier and just ready for that next chapter. But this one definitely is gonna close with fireworks. So April 29th.
April 29th, HEMPFEST. I can't believe it's HEMPFEST and no one's talked about smoking weed yet, but
hey, we're a family.
Oh, baby. Dog, God. Too old. It hurts my lungs. Give me an edible. Make it easy. Make it easy, baby. Give me an edible.
They're headlining HEMPFEST. No one mentioned the hemp part.
The album release, not the HEMPFEST.
Well, you were telling me the other day, right? Didn't Willie Nelson stop smoking?
I heard that.
Willie only eats edibles now.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You get to a certain age, shit ain't okay.
And what did I tell you? I'm on the Snoop watch.
Whoa, wait, time out. What's
the
Snoop watch?
Oh, I'm saying, when I see that Snoop Dogg stop smoking weed,
okay.
then I'm gonna be like, all right.
I thought it was like the Atkins diet or like the Atkins.
No, it's
all right. More... Day 3, you smoke like indica, and then like
oh my god, no. This is more so Nick's doomsday clock. Like he attributes it to Snoop Dogg. So once Snoop Dogg stops smoking, then maybe you gotta ease up, go to edibles or something. Like just take it easy.
Yeah, because Willie had another like 20, 30 years on Snoop.
That's right. It's true.
Snoop and me were closer in age. Not really.
I don't think you're that close.
No, we're pretty close. No, I don't know. Maybe not that close.
Not at all, bro.
Not in your 50s, Nick. I'm pretty sure Snoop is.
Oh my God.
It wouldn't be an interview if we didn't go off the rails a little bit, right?
Yeah.
No, of course.
Are we still recording?
This is a proper after hours review.
Mm-hmm.
This fucking is. Sure is. All right, so we didn't even talk about this yet. Where can people get tickets for this show? Like, tell us we'll plug all the things you need to plug.
Tickets are on sale at the site right from HEMPFEST. You find it on all the social media platforms. I know there's a Google. You can Google search it now, and it'll properly come up.
Put it in post. just like the site where HEMPFEST is. Just like
HEMPFEST at Dublin Deck. You type
Also,
that
just
in,
Or you go to StatFest Instagram
StatFest.
and they have a link
yeah.
to the tickets there.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's up on ours, but it will go up tonight.
It will be up on ours.
This interview, people see this interview, it should be in that link in your bio. You should be good.
So yes, it is also up on ours.
Thank you, manager. Somebody should write this down.
awful.
Oh God. All right.
Listen, with that being said, thank you guys for hanging out with us, having a silly old time. Do you want to plug anything else other than the show?
Where do people find all your content?
Guys, if you have some time, the regular old Instagram, regular old Twitter, Facebook. What am I missing, Nick?
YouTube.
Yes, YouTube.
Follow on the Spotify.
And you gotta hit up the Spotify because you know what? We love doing this, and we love that you love us doing this. And the more you listen, the more we can keep doing it. It's really what it boils down to. So we appreciate it, and it's Nonstop to Cairo on all those social media platforms. You just type it in, and we should show up immediately.
All right. All right. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We're looking forward to the album release show, to see all the shenanigans that you two get into at HEMPFEST now. I'm a little excited to see what happens there. Maybe Snoop Dogg will show up. He's only 51. He could make it.
You looked it up.
Yeah, let's
Oh, man.
Well, I'm retiring from weed.
Well, thank you guys for having us. Big fan of the After Hours review, and love you guys, the support you guys have shown us throughout the years.
Absolutely.
Can't wait for the show.
And for future notice, we can't wait to be on that next After Hours compilation CD. But that's another story and discussion we will talk about.
There we go.
That's the key. We love it.
I like that. Yeah, throw us in there.
Appreciate you guys though.
Yeah. All right, guys. We appreciate it.